Welcome back to High Five Garage. So I want to see if this head is fixable. This is the one with the little, all the dings on it. I'm going to start out with a carbide or whatever, the little cutters, and take off some of the big stuff that's into the dish and, you know, next to the plug and stuff like that. And there's a lip. And then I'll finish smoothing it out with those. They are different grits, so you could kind of, you know, kick it down if you wanted. And then I'll be cleaning out the insides as well, just like I started to do on that one with those little sanding discs. And then we can replace the valve guides and then start lapping the valves, and then everything will be good, brand new, as long as this head is savable. Okay, I'm gonna start by getting some of this off. We'll see how this bit does. If not, I might switch to another one. That actually seems to be working real well. Hopefully it doesn't clog this guy up too much, but yeah. All right, I'm just gonna go to town. Alright, that's not too bad. Easy enough, just, you know, cleaning up where it's kind of bulged out. That was simple. Now I'm going to switch over to a sanding one. I don't know if I'm going to do it on the Dremel or a drill, and then see if I can smooth out some of this, and of course where I grinded. Okay, I decided I'm just going to try the Dremel. Just go really slow. Don't, you know, bap, don't give it all the RPM. So let's see what happens. So far, not too bad. Okay, that seems to be working pretty well, so let's go into a time lapse. So this one's getting close. There is like one big ding right there, and I'm slowly working it so everything is smooth and goes together. But I'm gonna start working on this one because this one looks a lot easier. Definitely getting closer. Just gotta work on those deep spots. And then also I noticed on the other head that's not messed up, there's like this little indentation in the casting. So I definitely need to duplicate that and try to duplicate it on those. And then I might end up taking some material out of that head just to kind of even them out. So I finally got to where that one was gone, just keeping it smooth. But one thing I want to do is this little loop-de-loop right here probably has something to do with combustion and helps, you know, whatever, transfer from intake to exhaust. I wouldn't doubt it. I'm not sure on that, but that's what I think. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna trace it with a piece of tape, and put it over here and try to duplicate it. Now, yes, it is moved down or out, but I still want it to have that same effect. And then I can duplicate it over here, make sure it's the same. I can cut down this piece of tape so I know where it is, duplicate it, and then I can also put them in here, and then I'll have a set of matching heads. I want to say, at least on this one, you can see that little notch in there. The bolt did come out, so pretty crazy. I'll have to smooth that out, but yeah. So if I can match the rest to this, we'll be good. So I did just pick up another vehicle. It's something I've never done before, and I've been told I need to get into. So here it is. I don't think I will be doing any content with it, but maybe? I don't know. Maybe I'll just do some videos of me riding out, because I honestly have never rode a bike before. So kind of a new experience to me. I've been told it'll broaden me, and yeah, that's what I got to do it. A Kawasaki 250. So yeah, once again, I have no idea how to ride, so this should be interesting. Okay, so I'm not too happy with the way the head turned out, trying to fix all that scarring and stuff. So what I'm gonna try to do, just got my welder going, haven't done any aluminum in a long time, and I wanted to make sure I could still do it. It's still working. That machine likes to be finicky. I think I'd rather just fill it and then grind it down. Yeah, I'm gonna try that and hopefully get those back to almost OEM. I'd rather have that than what they are currently. It's a lot of work, and I'm not sure if it'll benefit anything. So this material is obviously very dirty, so this is gonna take a minute, but I'm hopefully gonna fill in that whole top and then start re-arcing it this. Hopefully that'll be a little bit cleaner because I've gotten most of the crap out, but it's gonna take a minute. After my first little cleanup here, not bad. This is just from not heating it enough. It's kind of puddled, so I need to puddle that all in and then add a little more. But coming out pretty smooth. I'd like to fill that little area and then maybe a few here, add some more, and then I'll take a little template and start grinding it out. But it's turning out a lot better than cutting it all out, so that's good. Definitely not terrible, definitely not the best. I haven't done aluminum in a while, so it's interesting. So now I just need to kind of make like a little diagram and finish drumeling it, and yeah, make it match. Came out pretty smooth, so now I got a template from the other head, and I will get a Sharpie, kind of trace it here, and that's at least where it needs to scoop up to. So a little bit there. So it looks like it's gonna be pretty good. And you just kind of dish it up. Okay, there is the finished product. We got a stock head and then a redone stock head. Yes, there's still a lot of marks right there, but I don't see how it will end up being an issue. This side was really bad. Those really aren't that bad, but I got the whole surface back. It is curved roughly like the stock one. She is ready to go as far as that goes. Now what's gonna happen is I am gonna clean / port all of them. Mainly cleaning because they are nasty, but then I was feeling, you know, some ridges in there. So I'm not gonna port them. I'm just gonna kind of get rid of all the castings and stuff. I can feel stuff up in there. And then right away I can actually see these two little bolts that go through on the exhaust sides. And they are very in the way. So I don't know if I'm gonna shorten the bolts or what, but yeah, that's very restrictive. So I'm gonna figure that out. When porting, just take your time. Try not to, you know, hit the side where the valve sits, and it'll be all right. You can always get them recut, put new seats in, but I don't want to. So I'm just gonna be really careful and smooth things out. It's not gonna be anything crazy. I just need them smooth and clean. Just a little update, all smoothed out. I need to flip it and then do underside. You know, just nice, smooth, in and out. This one I started to do a couple days ago, but like little ridges. Get rid of those ridges and you get better flow. I'm gonna keep going. As I said, I'm not trying to port anything like crazy, but just getting rid of the casting marks. Here, let me quick score this and you'll see the casting mark. So you can see this one, pretty much smooth all the way through. Go to this side, you can see that casting mark on the side, on both sides. You smooth that out, air can go in a lot smoother. But you know, is it gonna make a big difference? Probably not, but at least I'll know it's done. Better, all smooth. Another thing is gasket matching, gasket porting, gasket matching, so that when air is coming in, it's not catching on a lip. So I did that as well, just really quick, just tapered the ends to where I could see there was dirt. So, or like, you know, dirt, anything like that, you could tell where they needed to go. So bam, that head is complete. I might look at the exhaust side, just clean it out. Can't really port it. They're kind of deep in there. I can't see it on this one. Yeah, kind of deep in there, so kind of interesting. I'll probably just clean them out real quick. Even a little clean out makes things look a lot better. Okay, I think that is good for this head. I think, you know, finish cleaning it up, lap the valves once they come in, or I guess one of them I could do. Now that that head is complete and just needs to be lapped and put back together, I can start working on the other head. Here it is. Right away you can see some castings in there, and then also these little bolts that I think were like EGR stuff or like evap, something for buses at some point. I'm gonna cut those down, make them smooth, and yeah, just make these nice and ready to go back into the bus motor, onto the bus motor. Yeah. Okay, heads are completely finished as far as porting goes. Pretty smooth. They do look a little bigger, which is kind of cool. Now time to trim down these bolts. So what I'm gonna do is screw them in. Hopefully mark, let me see if I can make you guys see that, where they stick out. Hopefully mark where they sit. Because technically, I could just cut the end off above it, but they're actually oriented by the way they thread in. So, let's see if I can get a mark up in there. Hopefully. At least I'll be able to tell which way to kind of diagonal it. So I did a diagonal cut. Hopefully it'll fit in there correctly and then it'll flow better. So you can see I did it a little off, but either way it's out of the way of the flow. So I just need to grind off a little bit on one side and it'll be good. Both of them are done, nice and smooth. I'm gonna put some of that orange like exhaust RTV just on the tips, and then that'll hopefully seal them a little bit better as well. Now we wait for the guides, valves, seals, everything to come in, because I was gonna lap them today, just one of the heads, obviously the new valves for one of them, but if there's new guides, better sealing, not as much play, then they're gonna seal differently when I lap them. So might as well just wait for everything, do it all at once, put them back together, clean everything, and then I'll have a nice fresh set of heads that have a little bit of porting. Okay, finally got parts in for the heads for the bus motor, for the 1.7 liter. We've got intake and exhaust guides. There's some part numbers if you need them, if my camera will focus. Obviously that's intake, it's exhaust, and then I also got 2 intake valves because all the pitting on these two, so I might as well just replace them, lap them, we'll be good. And why I'm doing all the guides on these heads is, I'll show you real quick. There's so much play in some of these guides. I don't know if you can actually see that. That when it sets down, it's not correct. So I'm just gonna replace them all. There is plenty of ways to do this, but this is the one that I found the most online, and this is what I'm gonna do. You tap them, get a 1-inch piece of pipe. There's so many things online about this. It sits over it. You thread a carriage bolt into it. You have a plate. They use angle iron, I don't know why. I just got a plate with a washer, thread into it, and as you tighten it, it'll pull it out. That's what I'm gonna be doing. I just did one of them to make sure this actually does work and it's not terrible. So, and it worked. So here is the intake for that one. I threaded it with a, I think it's 3/8/16 tap, as far as you can go down. And then you got the carriage bolt that you put inside of the 1-inch by like 4-inch tube or 3-inch tube, something like that. Thread it down as far as you can. Use a ratchet wrench, and then I was just holding the head, but now I'm gonna try and put it onto the block instead of me holding it. Might be a little bit easier, but it does work. Now let's get all of them out.
Yeah.
Okay, so I decided just to tap all of them right away, so they're all tapped. I'm gonna try to pull them out on the motor, so at least I'm not holding the head. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
Okay, all of them are almost out. I did have one snap the end off. It looks like I didn't do enough threads, so I'm gonna rethread it and get that one out. Okay, all 8 are out. One thing I do want to say, the ratchet wrench helped a lot, but the carriage bolt and the nut, that's a one-time use thing. That it barely got through all 8 of those. So unless maybe putting some oil on it helped, or would help, but just replace it every time you do this, because Any further, it'd start stripping out and stuff like that. But everything else did great. One thing I do want to do before I put the new ones in is finish cleaning up the port I did. I'm pretty much just cleaning them up, but now I can get around where the guides used to be. So I'm going to clean those up, and then it'll be time to install the new guides and then lap the valves in. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, now time to put the guides back in. So to install these valve guides, you need a pretty big C-clamp, and I didn't have anything close. So I went and got a C-clamp, which still technically isn't the right size, but they didn't have anything. So it needs to be able to reach far, which this one does. And then it also needs to be wide enough, you know, to get to both sides to push it in. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut it, add some metal, widen it, and then I'll have a C-clamp that'll work. So I cut it in half, added a 3 3/4 by 1 3/4 piece of steel, welded it in there, made sure these ends were straight, and then now it's still kind of hot, but it reaches around, so it reaches this way, and then also it reaches this way. I couldn't find one. They probably sell them, probably not Harbor Freight, but if you can make your own. It's also nice that it has a flat end, because then it sits flat on the guide. Hopefully it holds up. We will see. Hours later, I finally got one of the valve guides in, and here's why. First of all, Harbor Freight tools are not the best, so I modded it, but then it was just spreading. So added a bar, added a little spacer to sit on top of the valve, to sit on top of the cut valve that I have, and that actually, you know, gives it a place to seat. So if you measure the old intake valve guides, they're 0.475. If you measure the new valve guides, they are 0.513. And this is why it has taken so long just to get one in. I needed to figure out how to turn them down in an effective kind of manner. What I ended up doing was getting a 14 6-point, and it actually fits almost perfect in there. The end fits, you know, hammer it in just a little bit, and it holds it in there. Then you can put a 14 on a 3/8 drive and actually have something to spin. Because I needed to take off so much material, I started with 80 grit, which is pretty aggressive, but then I just cut it down with 400 at the end. I'm pretty sure that's how all the intake ones are gonna be, which is unfortunate because it takes a minute to make sure I get it to that precise diameter. So I hope the exhaust ones are a little bit closer. So I'm just gonna sand down each individual one until it fits really nice and can be pressed in. All right, now that that is done, those intake ones definitely took longer than they should. I wonder if there is a correct size, but I don't know. Either way, grinded them down to where they were the correct measurement, and they all fit. You will see in the video that I pretty much abandoned the use of the C-clamp. The ends kept bending out So the cheap cast just wasn't worth it. What I ended up doing was hammering them in. I didn't hammer straight onto it. I used one of the old guides that had a nice head on it, so it would fit on top of the other guide, and hammered them in. From there, yes, it did flare them a little bit. And then all I did was just really slowly go with sandpaper in there and a smaller punch. So smaller punch, a little bit of sandpaper, putting it inside and slowly doing it until the valve cleared, and they go very nice in. So that is what I had to do. Definitely very time consuming, but at least I know they will be good and I know there's no play in them. And now we can perfectly lap the valves and hopefully everything will seal, well, perfectly. Lapping the valves. It is pretty much getting the valve to perfectly, or seal where it sits on the head. You can take the heads to a machine shop and they of course can do it for you. Depending what I'm doing, I decide whether I want to do that or not. Something like this though, I don't think this is going to be a problem. So here is how I lap valves. So of course you got the compound. They sell it here, and then they also sell it in like 2 different tubes, like different grits or whatever. But either way, this is what I got. It's what I'm gonna do. It says if you want it thinner, water it down. It's kind of weird. But so put some on the seat of the valve of the actual where it seals, or onto the head, and right there. Okay. Then I am gonna put a little bit of oil on the valve. Okay, and push it through. Okay, now the valve is in there, and what I do, I get a drill. Okay, I get something to hold on to a piece of vacuum line. It's just vacuum line, cut it pretty short. You're gonna want it to be on there and not have slack so that it's like wobbling around, but enough to where you can turn the valve, and I go in and out, touch, 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 and then eventually it pretty much makes like a nice new seal. Okay, as you can see, it is attached, and if I move the drill, it turns with the drill. From here, it's gonna be kind of difficult, but I will just touch it until I'm happy with it. And you do that for all of them, and then you can check if they seal by putting water in the actual bowl and spraying air into it. And if you get bubbles, it leaks. If it doesn't, you did good. Hopefully one head is complete. I say hopefully because once all the valves, springs, everything is back in it, put some water in it, hopefully it doesn't leak, and if I spray air, it doesn't bubble. But I will not know until I put it back together. But I want to show you something. I want to show you the difference between a lapped valve, head, the difference. So on these ones, you can see there's a nice gray contact patch. This is the head I already did. Same thing, nice gray contact patch. That's where it was grinding. Go to this side, you can see really nasty, inconsistent, almost no contact patch. Then you go to the valves, same thing, nice gray contact patch all the way around. Nothing consistent. And that is why you lap your valves. I'm gonna clean everything and get that head fully back together, and we'll see if everything worked. Okay, valves, springs, keepers, all that stuff, retainers, all back in, all nice. We'll put some water in it, see if it leaks. Okay, got it full. I put a spark plug in to cap the end. Gonna put this in the intake. Doesn't look like there's any bubbles. Let's try exhaust. No bubbles. That one is good. No, I would never waste Red Bull like this. Just water. Okay. Nice and full. Nice and sealed. Go to the back one. Heck yeah, no bubbles. So I still need to do the exact same thing to the other head, but that's gonna do it for this episode. I hope you learned something. I know I definitely did on these heads since I've never messed with them. And now we're gonna have a good motor with perfectly sealing valves, all cleaned up, a little bit of port. Stay tuned as I continue to put this Type 4 1.7 liter motor back together, and hopefully soon get it in the bus and get it running. Like always, like, comment, subscribe, really helps out. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next video. High five out.